Do you have any questions about the reason why so many seniors get up early at 3 a.m. and are unable to get back to sleep? It's possible to lie in a dark, quiet place, gazing up at the ceiling, contemplating what's wrong with either the body or your thoughts. It's true that this is much more frequent than you realize and isn't the result of a particular habit or consequence of aging. In this video, we'll explore 5 compelling reasons individuals get up at 3 a.m. in their advancing years and what the early morning wake-ups might be trying to convey to you. Each of the reasons reveals something more about your body, well-being, and the quality of your experiences. At the end of this instructional video, you'll consider your sleeping habits in a completely new way. This isn't just a superficial explanation as well. They're grounded in the real world of psychology, physiology, and the patterns of aging that the majority don't know about. The discussion will focus on changes in sleep patterns, hormones, as well as health issues, and also social and emotional influences which may be working in the background. The way we do this is in a manner that's authentic, as well as empowering and mindful of your life had to live up to now. If you've experienced waking up at 3 a.m. and pondering the reason, then you're at the right spot. Keep reading until the conclusion, because the information you'll learn will not just help your sleep, but also can help you know and comprehend the things your body goes through. Now let's get started. The first reason is the decrease in the production of melatonin. One of the most obvious reasons that people who are older awake in the early hours of the morning, usually between 3 and 4 a.m., this is due to the normal diminution in melatonin levels due to aging. Melatonin is a hormone that controls our sleep-wake cycle, commonly referred to as our internal clock of the body, and it plays an important role in helping you sleep and sleep. As a child, and your body was likely to produce an impressive, constant amount of melatonin at evening, which allowed the body to experience long, uninterrupted stretches of uninterrupted, deep rest. However, as time passes forward, your body is beginning making less as well, and this will have a significant influence on the quality of your rest. It is possible to fall asleep quickly at night, particularly when you've enjoyed a long afternoon or relaxing evening. However, as you get into the time you get to the beginning of morning, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or even at 4 a.m., that naturally occurring melatonin supply may be too low to maintain that sleepy state. It's possible that you wake up not because of an alarming sound or sleep, but simply due to your brain slowly moving back to sleep with no enough melatonin in the system to keep your body in sleep. It's not something you're doing in the wrong way and doesn't indicate that your body's failing. It's just a sign that the chemistry inside you changes with age. In addition, your room's environment could make them more severe. Small amounts of light emanating from a street lamp in front of the window, a flashing clock on your nightstand, or a lighting fixture in the hallway beneath the doorway can reduce the melatonin levels even more. The body's sensitivity increases to the triggers of your environment when you get older. This can cause that 3 a.m. awake feeling even more bothersome. Consider, for example, Harold, who's now at the age of 72 and was always an excellent sleeping person. Recently, however, it seems that he is awake at 3:15 a.m. every night. There's no feeling nervous or upset, but completely alert, as if that's when he's ready to start his day. When he realized that this was not a mistake by his side, but rather an inevitable occurrence of aging that is triggered by melatonin, he stopped making excuses for himself and began to alter his routine. The bedroom is now dark, limits his use of screens for an hour before going to bed, and has a quick stroll in the evening to strengthen the natural rhythm of his circadian. Small changes like these help to signal the body that it's still evening. Although he wakes early at times, but he's now able to work in conjunction with his body rather than fighting it. The understanding of this kind could be an important change. If you realize that getting up at a brisk pace is not an issue that is an inevitable chemical shift, you are able to take action to help you sleep rather than resenting your body. It's all about awareness that transforms frustration into compassion and helps you make better choices regarding the way you take care of your body in the evening. 2. Shifted sleep cycle as well as the advanced phase of sleep. A major reason why older people are more likely to awake in the early hours of 3 a.m. is because of changes within your body's circadian rhythm, an event known as an advanced phase of sleep. As we get older, the circadian rhythms begin to shift forward. This could mean that we begin feeling sleepy at night and get up later at dawn. There's a chance that you'll be drifting off after watching a movie at night, or not waking with no alarm clock, or on days you'd like to sleep longer. The reason for this isn't merely an issue of routine, it's deeply embedded in the biology, and it can get more evident with every increasing year. When you're younger, your body's rhythm tends to be aligned with a late night, as well as a time for waking up, which is more in tune with the sunrise. However, as the rhythm progresses, it is natural for the sleeping window to change its direction. The time you fall asleep could be 9:15 p.m. or sooner, without consciously deciding to, as it means that the body will have completed the full rest cycle. At the point that 3 a.m. arrives, this is why you may feel a bit groggy at the end of the night and feel that your sleep has been completely complete, even though the night is still dark. That doesn't mean something that's wrong, it's just a sign that your body's operating according to a different timetable. Imagine it as an old clock that has been slowly adjusted over time and is now ticking a smaller each season. Though this isn't a problem, however, it can become a little annoying if your daily routine and routines with your family or your personal tastes don't match to this reset. Additionally, there is a mental aspect to this shift. A lot of older people have quieter homes or have more time to themselves as well. A peaceful and quiet environment could boost the body's signal to rest earlier during the day without constant activities or the constant noise. This could have put off your bedtime. The computer begins the nighttime closing process much earlier, even if you're not doing full-time work or observing the same routine every day. The absence of other time-related signals, such as appointments, commutes or gatherings with friends, could make the internal change more pronounced. We'll look at an individual like Charles, who's 68 and has retired. Charles usually eats his dinner at 5 p.m. and is glued to the television throughout the night, before heading to the bed. At 9:15 p.m. the man is asleep, and at 3 a.m. the body is all set to go back to sleep. The person doesn't experience anxiety or anxious, he's just relaxed. He initially thought that it was due to insomnia. However, after he was informed about the advanced sleep phases, the sleep wasn't a problem and was just scheduled to be rescheduled. Charles was adjusting his bedtime routine so that he could stay awake more, taking his time, taking a long walk in the warmth of a candle, taking an easy walk following dinner, or calling occasionally his daughter to have a short conversation before going to bed. These little social and emotional signals help to extend the window of time he sleeps to push his wake-up times towards the morning. What does this mean? A decrease in 3-hour AM awakenings and a greater feeling of being in tune with his day-to-day living. The natural change in the sleep is a common thing that older people experience, yet few people talk about. Being aware of it could help you to get rid of stress or anxiety and give you a healthier method of working in harmony with your body instead of trying to fight it. For instance, if you wake at 3 a.m. and you feel as if you've had a good night's rest, it's possible that your body might be on a later time frame right now. When you realize that it is, you'll be able making your schedule to support your health. If you're watching this video and find these ideas useful, then please make a comment in the box below so that I know you're there. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, I suggest to sign up and then turn off the sounder so you don't lose any video. Thanks for your support. It helps us keep making great content that informs and encourages you. Let's go forward. 3 is physical discomfort as well as health-related interruptions. A third reason that older people get up at around 3 o'clock a.m. is an underlying the physical discomfort or other problems with health that usually appear during the sleepy time of evening. As we age, it is more likely that we will be dealing with chronic illnesses or health issues that are subtle or higher, and many diseases are able to disrupt the sleep cycle without triggering alarms. They can be spotted quietly as a joint that is painful, as well as a full bladder, or even a quick ache in the back. And it's not uncommon for them to knock your body out of its slumber state during the night. For example, arthritis-related conditions, as an example, can cause sitting in the same place for long hours painful. The discomfort until you've fallen. Asleep, however, after hours of slumber, those pains can become so severe as to wake you up. Some people experience nighttime acid reflux can wake the sleeper, particularly when they've had dinner late, if they're too late, or have a recline after eating. Even something so simple like a dry mouth, muscular cramps, or a minor alteration in temperature of the room can cause a slight awakening in the time of dawn, as your body's defenses are increasingly shaky and less flexible than they used to be. One of the main physical causes that older men get up around 3:30 a.m. are the desire for urination. As we get older, the bladder gets less flexible, and the need to urinate can come quicker and more frequently. There's a chance that you don't feel it in the morning when you have distractions. 2 are distracting your thoughts and you're awake around 3 o'clock a.m. In an unlit and dark room, the sensation is difficult to avoid. If you rise and get moving, whether it's simply going to the bathroom, your body could be undergoing a shift from sleep to a state of alert, which makes it difficult to go back to sleep. Also, there's the matter of medication, which a lot of elderly people take frequently for cardiovascular health and pain treatment. They can cause adverse effects such as frequent urination, fluctuations in body temperature, or heightened sensitivity to noise or light, which can influence the quality of sleep. The patient may not be aware of that there is a connection between your medication and your sleeping patterns until you hear someone mention it or you start tracking your sleeping habits a bit more. Take Elena, for instance. She is a woman aged 76 who's always been an extremely light sleeper. In the last year, she began awakening frequently around 3 a.m. Following months believing it was due to getting older, she consulted her physician and was able to determine the medication had a negative effect on her levels of water and causing her to make more frequent visits to the bathroom. After consulting with her physician to adjust the frequency of her dose, made some lifestyle modifications, which has resulted in her waking more frequently and goes to sleep much more quickly in the event that she wakes up. It's important to keep in mind in this case is that the physical wake-ups do not mean that your body's not functioning properly. They're just indicators that your body's working as normal. It's responding, alerting, adjusting. These signs can lead you towards better health and more educated choices and an increased feeling of confidence within your own consciousness. The time of waking at 3 a.m. might feel like something to be a hassle, but it is also a gentle reminder to be in tune, to check in and implement small adjustments that will help you achieve better health and more sleep. 4th, habits of your life can alter the rhythm of your sleep. A second, but frequently overlooked reason that older people are awake by 3 a.m. stems from the long-standing habits of daily life, small routines and habits that gradually gently alter the rhythm of your life. A lot of older people naturally start eating their dinners earlier, winding down later at night, as well as experiencing a decrease in exercise throughout the morning. The seemingly insignificant changes become more significant and may signal your body that night must begin earlier. This causes the body to start waking up too earlier. As your day gets quieter, particularly after retirement, the body doesn't receive the same signals from outside that they used to receive for commuting to work and running around, as well as engaging in physically or mentally challenging activities. With no such cues, your body's cycle of sleep and wake may start to get a bit more sluggish. In a calm, dark evening that is not crowded with stimulation may stimulate your brain's production of more melatonin, which can lead to sleep prior to even realizing it's 9:59 p.m. When you fall asleep later, your body gets its sleep earlier and awakening in the early hours. Typically, it's about 3 a.m. There's also a connection between the timing of meals and quality of sleep. A late dinner, although generally healthy, could cause a decrease of blood sugar during the night, particularly if there's not a food or drink before going to the bed. This dip isn't likely to feel like hunger, however it could still wake the body out of sleeping. Similar to caffeine, consuming it at any time, even during the afternoon, may remain in your system, particularly as your metabolism decreases as you age, sluggishly reducing your sleeping patterns and making you more prone to being awake at any time. A person such as Walter, aged 74 and just retired, the changes snuck in slowly. The days were less organized and his nights more laid back. The man would eat dinner around 5 p.m. before sleeping in the recliner while watching the news and going to bed by 9:15 p.m. every night. In the blink of an eye that his routine changed a couple of hours earlier. Soon after, he started awakening around 3 a.m. and was a bit puzzled how he managed to stay awake even before the birds began singing. In the wake of reassessing his habits, Walter began making small changes, including a quick walking session during the afternoon, reading in brighter lighting during the evening, and staying away from napping after meals. The changes helped him increase his sleep time further back and let his body adjust to a schedule which was more in line with the ideal time to wake up. It's amazing how often we forget the value of regularity. We are wired to have rhythms in our bodies, patterns that occur daily that tell our brain that it's time for a nap and when it's the right time to get up. If these signals become weaker or change, and the body's clock may lose its groove, that can lead to a more erratic and less restful sleep. However, by being aware of these patterns and making mindful changes, you can gently lead the body back to a sleeping rhythm that is more relaxing and less disturbed. If you're watching this video and are finding the information valuable, then please leave a comment below and confirm that you're there. If you've not signed up to our channel yet, I suggest to sign up and ring the alarm so that you don't miss any of the videos. We rely on your help to continue making great content to educate and encourage you. Let's get moving forward. 5. Emotional and psychological tension. The possibility of waking around 3 a.m. does not have much to do with body and much more with your mind. As we get older and become more emotional, levels, which previously were buried under the hustle and bustle of everyday routines, can begin to show up during the peaceful evening. In the early morning, where the world is quiet and there are no distractions, usually become the place when unspoken concerns and regrets or longings are beginning to come out. It is possible that you are sleeping, but not because of the noise of your surroundings or discomfort or pain, but simply because your mind is ruminating over past memories, thoughts that aren't resolved, or nagging anxieties that they didn't know were in your mind. The kind of anxiety you experience is distinct from the full-blown panic which can be felt in young people. It's quieter, more reflective. It could be an uneasy hum that plays on the background, the feeling of something being unsettling regardless of whether you're able to identify the cause. When the mind isn't fully engaged, we'll often reach to the past and past choices, the losses suffered, or thoughts that remain to be forgotten. Since the body's not running from one job to the next, it's possible for thoughts to reverberate slightly louder. It's equally important to acknowledge the fact that loneliness plays an important role in this. Many older adults find their friendship circles diminish with the passage of time. Friends leave, children go away, get busy, and the routines alter. It's possible that the daytime is packed with activity and excitement, while at night there is a sense of calm and a sense of this emotional gap. The feeling of being lonely doesn't necessarily feel heavy, but sometimes it is simply an urge to connect or an ache to find an individual to speak to, even if your home is empty. Think about someone like Gloria is 80 years old and divorced. When she's not working, she is busy with her yard, talking to her grandkids, and taking in her favorite shows. At 3 a.m., her routinely wakes up with thinking about the memories she had with her husband who died, or thoughts that she has at night tucked away during daylight time. Initially, she was convinced that she was experiencing a problem in her sleeping, however. As time passed, she began to realize that her earliest awakening wasn't really about sleeping in any way. It was the heart of her asking to hear her. In order to help herself, Gloria started keeping a tiny journal beside her bedroom. As she gets up and writes what's going through her head, nothing extravagant and just a couple of real thoughts. Also, she has a peaceful routine for the evening, such as relaxing to music or writing a note to a loved one. These small moments of reflection and communication gave emotional turmoil a calm way to release them, while relaxing her anxiety and enabling her to get to sleep better. In reality, our hearts don't have an exact schedule. It can remember whatever it wishes to keep in mind and asks important questions at times, and does it when it's the AM while the rest of the world is still. However, that's not an issue, as it's evidence of understanding. If you wake awake and feeling thoughtful, this could mean that there's wisdom waiting to be recognized. It's been through many joys and sorrows. These events shape not only the memories you have, but also your perception of yourself. Instead of seeing these awakenings as something you need to address, take the time to be awestruck by these experiences. By approaching them with respect and curiosity, what is your brain trying to communicate? What is it that you must communicate? What area of your life needs some mercy? Even when it's dark times, the best sort of sleep does not result through ignoring the moments, but rather from embracing these moments. When you do this, you could get more restful sleep, but an understanding of who you are as you move through this phase of your living. Last thought. As we wrap with this short video, spend a moment in silence to reflect upon the information you've heard. What did you find resonated the most? Did it be the change within your own internal clock, slight changes in your physical health, or an emotional rhythm manifests only while the world is quiet? Each of these factors provides a new perspective to consider your morning waking up routines. However, none of them points to something broken or wrong. They all show how your mind and body remain at work, changing, continuing to adapt to the changing period of your living. There's an underlying power that comes from knowing what your body is trying to tell you, especially during those quiet hours, prior to sunrise. Instead of seeing the 3 a.m. alarms as something to be feared, it might be possible to view them as gentle signals to remind you of the need to pay attention to your desires, as well as your routines, as well as your heart. It's not a unique situation, and certainly not the only person looking for the answers. With insight comes power and strength, which brings the ability to make tiny, significant changes to support more restful sleep, greater satisfaction, and more relationship to your personal rhythms. If you've experienced some of these ways this moment, remember that you're not simply aging and growing. With that change is the chance to sleep more mindfully, to look after yourself with more gentleness, and greet every day with more compassion and calm.